Hello everybody. Behavior. In organizations, we try to assess behavior. So we start with the expectations of an organization or entity. So we try to create the expectations of how we expect people to behave. The second thing we do is we try to give a good example of how somebody should behave, a person that they may know and respect. And lastly, there should be some rewards that reinforce the expected standards of behavior. People should see and then be rewarded by meeting these standards. And why is behavior so important? Well, behavior is important because no matter what the policy, no matter what the intention would be, at the end of the day, you have to see how somebody acts. That's where emotions are so important today. Emotion is an outward manifestation of what you think and what you believe. And so emotions are what people see. It's the same with behavior. People can gain an education and can go to training classes, and then they come back into the workplace. And we have to see how that education or training class inspired, reformed, even informed a person on how to behave and how to act. What we do know is that it's very difficult, not impossible, but close to, very difficult to change somebody's behavior over time. It's simply a difficult thing to do because behavior is something that people have learned throughout the life. So from when they're a child, they may act out. We call behavior in that era of acting out. And they may not be punished for the specific acts that they have. In fact, they may be rewarded. Oh, look how cute that is. Or that person's strong-willed. However we define it, at the end of the day, what we see is that people act a certain way, and they're rewarded for the way that they act. And so behavior, given that it's learned over an extended period of time, becomes even more challenging to change. There's a great statement that it's very difficult to change somebody at 30, 40, or 50. You're basically the same person you were. And that's why if you are of a certain age and you look back and you see some of your friends who are doing the same thing, they may be married and have kids, but they act in the same manner, have the same perspectives, and you may wonder they haven't learned anything over the years. As Muhammad Ali says, if you think the same at 50 that you did at 20, you've wasted 30 years of your life. But without a significant event in somebody's life, they really do act and behave in the same manner. So behavior is so difficult to change. But an organization or an entity can help modify a person's behavior. And as I started discussing at the beginning of this discussion, there's really three things that an organization or an entity can do to modify somebody's behavior over the long term. Recognizing first and foremost that you can never change someone's behavior that doesn't want to change it. It's almost an impossibility. No matter the rewards, the incentives that are offered, if somebody doesn't want to change their behavior, it's almost impossible to change it. But three things can be done. First is one needs to have a clear set of expectations. Those who are not behaving properly have to know that this is how we expect you to behave. You're going to be held to this standard. And then there's going to be repercussions if you don't meet it. Second is one has to have a solid example of how to behave. You can't work in an organization that expects you to behave in one way and see managers and leaders behaving in another. You have to show an example of how this behavior should be expected and followed in the workplace. And lastly, rewards should be introduced to reinforce the standard expectations of behavior. People should see, and the rewards should follow to those who follow and adhere to what we expect. So that is what behavior is and how it's a complex issue, but one that is important for an organization to address and clearly state how people are expected to behave. Look forward to chat with you guys more. Enjoy the rest of the day.